Have you ever planted garlic only to end up with tall green leaves and disappointingly small bulbs? You're not alone, but the good news is it's completely fixable. After years of trial and error, I've learned the key to growing tons of big, healthy garlic bulbs instead of endless amounts of tall green leaves. So in this video, we'll cover 10 easy fixes that guarantee a better harvest. The first mistake that leads to leafy garlic and tiny bulbs is choosing the wrong variety. Not all garlic is created equal, and the type you plant makes a huge difference in how well it bulbs up. Many gardeners unknowingly plant softneck varieties in climates that favor hardneck types, or vice versa, and end up disappointed when their plants spend all their energy growing leaves. Hardneck garlics, like rocambole or porcelain, tend to produce larger bulbs with fewer but stronger cloves. They're perfect for colder climates because they need that winter chill to trigger proper bulb formation. Softneck varieties, on the other hand, thrive in milder regions and can store longer, but in cooler weather, they may focus too much on leaf production. To fix this, always match your variety to your climate. If you live in an area with cold winters, go with hardneck types, as they'll handle the frost and reward you with big, flavorful bulbs. If your winters are mild, choose softneck garlics like silverskin or artichoke, which prefer less chill. When buying seed garlic, skip the supermarket bulbs. They're often treated to prevent sprouting. Instead, source from local nurseries or trusted seed catalogs that specify regional suitability. Locally adapted seed garlic is your best bet because it's already accustomed to your growing conditions. Choosing the right variety might seem small, but it sets the foundation for everything else. When your garlic matches your climate, it focuses on strong, consistent bulb growth rather than sending energy into tall, leafy stems. Next, let's look at another easy mistake that can make or break your harvest, which is planting at the wrong time. The second mistake that leads to lots of leaves and small bulbs is planting at the wrong time. Garlic needs a cool period to trigger strong bulb formation. If you plant too late in spring, the plant rushes to make leaves and never builds a deep root system. If you plant way too early in summer heat, it can stall, then bolt weakly the next season. For most gardeners, the sweet spot is fall planting. Aim for late September through November, adjusting for your climate. In colder regions, plant about 4 to 6 weeks before the ground freezes. That window lets cloves root well, then rest through winter. When days lengthen in spring, the plant already has a strong base and can channel energy into bulb expansion, not just foliage. In milder climates, you still want fall planting, just a little later. The goal is simple. Give garlic enough cool weather for rooting, but not so much warmth that it pushes a lot of top growth before winter. If you missed fall entirely, you can spring plant, but expect smaller bulbs. Choose early maturing varieties and keep expectations realistic. A few easy helpers. Add a light mulch after planting to buffer temperature swings and protect young roots. Make sure the site has full sun so the plant gets strong light during spring bulb sizing. Finally, resist heavy fertilizing in late spring. By then, more nitrogen only fuels leaves. Right timing sets the whole crop up for success. When cloves root in fall and wake up ready in spring, you get thick necks, strong plants, and bulbs that fill out beautifully. Next, we will fix the background conditions that make or break garlic size, starting with the soil itself. Now, if you're finding this video helpful so far, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps us reach more gardeners like yourself who would also find it so helpful to avoid these mistakes. All right, let's keep going. The third mistake that leads to leafy garlic and weak bulbs is poor soil quality. Garlic has shallow roots and depends heavily on the right soil texture and nutrients. If your soil is compacted, heavy with clay, or overloaded with nitrogen, the plant will respond by producing long, lush leaves instead of large, well-formed bulbs. Garlic prefers well-draining, fertile soil that's rich in organic matter but not soggy. It absolutely hates sitting in wet soil. That's a recipe for root rot and slow growth. Before planting, loosen the top 8 to 10 inches of soil and work in plenty of compost or aged manure. Avoid using fresh manure, as it's too nitrogen-heavy and pushes leafy growth at the expense of bulbs. Aim for a soil pH between 6.0 and 7.0. If the soil is too acidic, add a bit of garden lime a few weeks before planting. A simple soil test from your local extension office or garden center can tell you exactly what your ground needs. As for fertilizer, use a balanced blend like 10-10-10 or 5-10-10 early in the growing season to encourage healthy roots and bulbs. Garlic loves potassium and phosphorus for bulb development, but only needs a small boost of nitrogen at the start. Think of soil as garlic's foundation. When it's loose, well-draining, and balanced, the plant naturally directs energy downward, forming big, dense bulbs instead of endless leaves. Up next, we'll look at something equally important: how the way you plant garlic can make or break your entire harvest. The fourth mistake that shrinks bulbs and boosts leaves is planting technique. Even good soil and timing cannot fix cloves that are planted too shallow, too deep, too crowded, or upside down. Getting the basics right lets the plant root deeply and send energy into a full, round bulb. Start with large, healthy cloves from disease-free seed garlic. Avoid supermarket bulbs. Separate cloves gently just before planting so the basal plate stays intact. Plant each clove pointed end up, 2 to 3 inches deep from the clove tip to the soil surface. Shallow planting exposes cloves to temperature swings and heaving. Planting too deep delays emergence and slows growth. Give garlic space to size up. Set cloves 4 to 6 inches apart in rows 12 inches apart. Crowding forces competition for light, water, and nutrients, which drives the plant to reach upward with leaves rather than build big bulbs. In raised beds, a simple grid works well, for example 6 by 6 inches on center. After planting, water to settle soil around the cloves, then mulch with straw, shredded leaves, or clean grass clippings. Mulch stabilizes moisture, limits winter heaving, reduces weeds, and protects the shallow root zone. In very wet climates, use a lighter mulch and raised beds to improve drainage. Label varieties clearly and keep rows straight, so spring weeding is easy on your back. If you are planting multiple varieties, avoid mixing them within the same row. Different vigor levels can lead to uneven shading and smaller bulbs on the slower type. When cloves are planted at the right depth, with the tip up and good spacing, the plant puts energy into a sturdy base and a full bulb rather than a tangle of leaves. The fifth mistake that turns energy into leaves instead of bulbs is improper watering. Garlic wants steady moisture while it is building roots and sizing bulbs, but it also hates sitting in water. Too much water pushes lush foliage and shallow roots. Too little water stresses plants, which limits bulb expansion. Aim for consistent, moderate moisture from early spring through early summer. Check soil with your finger. The top inch can dry slightly between waterings, but the root zone should stay evenly moist. A drip line or soaker hose is ideal since it delivers water slowly at the base and keeps leaves dry, which reduces disease pressure. If you hand water, go slow and deep rather than frequent light sprinkles. Soil type matters. In sandy beds, water more often in smaller amounts. In clay soils, water less often and focus on drainage. A 2 to 3 inch mulch layer of clean straw or shredded leaves helps stabilize moisture, reduce weeds, and protect the shallow root system that garlic relies on. Timing is just as important. As bulbs begin to size in late spring, maintain even moisture to support expansion. Then reduce watering 2 to 3 weeks before harvest, once lower leaves begin to yellow. This dry down firms the outer wrappers, concentrates flavor, and helps bulbs cure well. Continuing to water heavily at this stage encourages soft wrappers and can invite rot. Watch the plants for cues. Flagging leaves on hot afternoons that recover by evening are normal. Leaves that stay wilted the next morning signal a real moisture shortfall. Adjust your schedule rather than guessing. With steady, right-sized watering and a good mulch, garlic diverts energy to the underground bulb instead of chasing water with extra foliage. The sixth mistake that can shrink your garlic bulbs is not removing the scapes on hardneck varieties. Scapes are the curling flower stalks that shoot up in late spring. They look beautiful, but if left uncut, they divert energy from the bulb into flowering and seed production. That means more leaves, smaller bulbs, and wasted potential. Scapes usually appear when the plant is mature enough to start forming bulbs, so this is the perfect time to step in. When you see them curl into a loose loop, they're ready to cut. Snip each one just above the top leaf, ideally when it's still tender and before it straightens. Cutting too late won't harm the plant, but you'll lose the full benefit. Removing the scapes redirects nutrients and carbohydrates back into the developing bulb, often increasing bulb size by as much as 20 to 25%. It's one of the simplest, most effective tricks for bigger garlic. The good news is, those cut scapes don't go to waste. They have a mild garlic flavor and can be chopped into stir-fries, blended into pesto, or sautéed with butter. Harvesting them feels like getting a bonus crop before the main event. Make it a habit to check your garlic patch weekly in late spring so you don't miss that short window. Once scapes are gone, the plant focuses completely on swelling the bulb underground. Next, we'll look at how something as simple as weeds and pests can quietly undo months of good garlic growing. The seventh mistake that limits bulb growth is letting weeds and pests compete with your garlic. Garlic may be tough and aromatic, but it still struggles when unwanted plants and insects steal its nutrients. Every weed that grows between your rows robs moisture, light, and space that the bulbs need to expand properly. Garlic has shallow roots, so it cannot fight back against strong weed growth. Even light competition early in the season can stunt bulbs permanently. Keep beds clean from the moment shoots emerge. A 2 to 3 inch mulch layer of clean straw, shredded leaves, or dried grass clippings keeps weeds down while holding moisture. Pull any weeds that break through by hand rather than hoeing, which can damage garlic roots near the surface. Pests are another hidden enemy. Onion maggots, thrips, and nematodes can attack roots or bulbs, weakening the plant and reducing yield. Rotate your garlic beds yearly to avoid pest buildup, and never plant garlic in the same spot where onions or leeks grew last year. Check for soft spots or twisted leaves, which can signal pest problems. For organic control, row covers work well early in the season, and beneficial nematodes can help manage soil pests naturally. Healthy, unstressed garlic puts its energy where it belongs, into bulb growth. Once weeds and pests are under control, your plants will channel nutrients straight into those underground cloves instead of wasting strength on survival. Next, we'll tackle another big mistake that confuses many gardeners: using fertilizers that feed the leaves instead of the bulbs. The eighth mistake that causes garlic to grow tall and leafy with small bulbs is overdoing nitrogen. Garlic does need nutrients, but too much nitrogen pushes it to build soft green leaves instead of focusing energy on bulb formation. The result is a patch of healthy-looking foliage and disappointing bulbs when harvest time comes. The most common culprit is fresh manure, or high-nitrogen fertilizers like blood meal or urea. These give the plant an early rush of energy, but it comes at the wrong time. Garlic needs steady nutrition early for root development and a gentle boost during bulb growth, not a constant flood of nitrogen. To correct this, start with a balanced fertilizer, such as 5-10-10 or 10-10-10 at planting time. This ratio gives enough phosphorus and potassium for bulb formation without overfeeding the leaves. Avoid top dressing with manure or nitrogen-heavy mixes after the first few months. Instead, use compost tea or a mild, low-nitrogen organic feed in early spring and then stop fertilizing by late May. Another tip is to remove scapes early on hardneck varieties, since they draw even more energy upward. Combined with controlled feeding, this ensures all that stored energy moves downward into the bulb. If your garlic looks too lush and green by late spring, it may be growing on borrowed time. Back off watering slightly and skip the fertilizer for the rest of the season. Balanced nutrition is the key to dense, flavorful bulbs instead of a jungle of leaves. Next, we'll discuss one of the most overlooked details: knowing exactly when to harvest for the biggest, healthiest bulbs. The ninth mistake that ruins a good garlic crop is harvesting at the wrong time. Timing is everything. Pick too early and the bulbs will be small, underdeveloped, and hard to cure. Wait too long and the cloves start to split through their wrappers, leaving bulbs vulnerable to rot and poor storage. The trick is to read the leaves. Garlic gives clear signals when it's ready. When 3 to 4 lower leaves have turned brown but 5 or 6 upper leaves are still green, that's the sweet spot. Those remaining green leaves represent the protective layers that will form the outer wrappers of the bulb. Harvesting at that point ensures the bulbs are fully formed but still tightly wrapped. Use a garden fork or trowel to gently loosen the soil before lifting the bulbs. Don't pull by the leaves. That can separate the stem from the bulb and cause damage. Once lifted, shake off the loose dirt, but resist washing them. Moisture at this stage invites mold and decay. If you're uncertain about timing, test dig one plant. If the cloves are plump and well-defined, the rest are ready. If they're still thin and compressed, wait another week. Proper harvest timing affects everything from flavor to storage life. Garlic that's harvested right cures better, tastes stronger, and lasts months longer in storage. Think of it as the final payoff for all your care through the season. The 10th mistake that shrinks your usable harvest is poor curing and storage. Even perfectly grown garlic can lose size, flavor, and shelf life if it is rushed or cured in the wrong conditions. High humidity, direct sun, or cramped airflow cause wrappers to mold and bulbs to shrivel. Good curing protects your hard work and locks in quality for months. Start curing immediately after harvest. Do not wash bulbs. Gently brush off loose soil and keep the leaves attached. Hang plants in small bundles or lay them on racks in a dry, shaded, well-ventilated space. Ideal conditions are warm days and steady air movement. A garage with the door cracked, a shed with fans, or a shaded porch all work. Cure for 2 to 4 weeks until the necks are fully dry and the outer wrappers are papery. You will know they are ready when the stems are crisp and the cloves feel firm through the skins. Once cured, trim roots to 1/4 inch and cut stems to about 1 inch for standard bulbs. For braids, leave the tops on softneck varieties and weave them only after curing is complete. Sort your bulbs. Set aside any with nicks or soft spots to eat first. Store the rest in mesh bags, slatted crates, or baskets that allow constant airflow. Keep them in a cool, dark, dry place. Aim for temperatures around 50 to 60 degrees with low humidity. Never store garlic in sealed plastic or the refrigerator. Trapped moisture and cold encourage sprouting and mold. Label varieties and dates so you can track which ones store longest. With careful curing and smart storage, your bulbs stay heavy, flavorful, and ready for the kitchen well into next season. Thanks for sticking with me through the entire video. If you found this helpful, give it a like, subscribe for more gardening tips, and check out our other videos on growing a better garden.